I'm going to share as well the guideline for you to go through in your team, and then I'm going to finish the topics that I promise you that I have to make a recording, but I'm not fit at all to make a videos. So today I'm going to finish that, and then what else? Yeah, that's all. All right. Okay. So let me share to you the attendance. No, not attendance. The slides. All right. I think our last meeting. I think last week. I talk about the strategic fit. All right. Oh yeah. One more thing. For the test. Yeah. For the test. We're going to have a test, but then I don't have a date. But then the topics that we'll cover is from topic number 1, the introduction of supply chain. Topic number 2, the strategic fit, right? And the competitiveness. Okay, this topic. And then the other one is this one, chapter 3, supply chain drivers and obstacle. All right. So only these 3 topics will be in your test 1. So there is no calculation. There will be a fundamentals of it. That's a promise, no calculation. All right. But then you have to understand the fundamentals. All right. Okay. So just take note on that. Okay. So just want to keep remind you that last time I'm talking about, I think a few minutes before we end our class. I talk about the implied demand uncertainty. All right, and then the correlation between implied demand, uncertainty, and other attributes. Right, and also the understanding of supply chain capabilities for the step 2. All right, and also this one. All right, understanding the supply chain cost, responsive, and efficient frontier. So when you look at the very high responsive, definitely you are going to pay more. All right, so that's the how it relates in the on the graph. All right, so but then if you look at the low responsiveness, you are going to pay low. That's the normal things. All right, so when you want your products, okay, receive tomorrow, for example, okay, you made an order today and then you want to receive your item tomorrow, then you have to pay extra for the shipping cost. Okay, so that's the simple things that I'm going to explain to you regarding this opening graph. Right, so and of course that you may read in details in your textbook. All right, I'm not showing my face. Sorry. To show my face. That's it. All right. So sorry guys, I quite mess. Let me change the backgrounds to something that make you cheer up. Be in my virtual office. All right. Okay. So that's thing. So you can have a read and in textbook and get more understanding regarding this graph. Yeah. And then after that, also about the how to achieve the strategic fit. All right. And then what is the step of it? Okay, the goal of target to achieve high responsiveness for the supply chain, and then high implied uncertainty facing that, and efficiency for a supply chain facing a low implied uncertainty. So we want to make sure that our strategy is in between this graph. Yeah. So it's sit under here, right? Zone of strategic fit. So you are not going to go extra to, you know, to here and here. That's not it's not comfort zone, a zone of strategic fit. Okay. So this is also in your textbook. All right, you can have a read. And then also that I did mention regarding the difference comparison of efficient and responsive. So efficient is different, and responsive is also different. Okay, when we talk about efficiency, means that you use less resources, but then you produce more. That's efficient. Okay, but if we talk about responsive, so you know, let's say, for example, I'm asking you to do an assignment, okay, and then you submit your assignment on the date that I mentioned. So means that you are responsive. Your prompt response is highly appreciated. That's the email normally that you can you may receive, right? So response is different. So efficiency, so you use very less resources. So that's why when we talk about efficiency, so we talk about lowest cost possible, all right, for you to run your operation. Okay. Okay, and then response is quick response. So that's a directly straightforward of meaning. And then product design strategy, you also use a minimum product cost. All right. And then this one is modularity to allow postponement. All right. So you have your a modular concept of it. All right, in terms of in a way that you want to respond to your customer. Okay, some customer they want a quick response, but some of that they just you know, intentionally want to delay the response. All right, so for, you know, quite a few of reason, right? But then when you talk about pricing strategy, again, lower resources, lower margin, okay, and then also higher margin is required. Okay. Okay, and then also in efficiency, also it use a minimum inventory. I did mention about the lean manufacturing. All right, about the inventory is one of the waste, right? So they're using a minimum inventory strategy. Okay, and manufacturing strategy is high utilization. Okay, high utilization means that they try to maximize the utilization of their facilities in manufacturing. Okay, the process in manufacturing. Okay, just to make sure that you get a very efficient levels in doing the service. Okay, but then if you talk about responsive, it goes more to the capacity flexibility. Let's say, for example, you receive another orders from another model, or maybe products. Okay, you can do an expansion. Okay, or you know, you can smaller your capacities. So it can be flexible. Depends on the orders. All right. Okay. And also this one, inventory, minimize inventory, and also buffer inventory. So normally when we want to have a responsive, a very high responsive, you are going to have a buffer. So a certain buffer, all right? So what we call it as a security, all right? But then it has to be in the limits, all right? EOQ, your EOQ, your min-max should be controlled, all right? And then the lead time strategy, reduce the lead time, that is efficient. Okay, and but responsive aggressively reduce. Okay, even if costs are significant. So that's why there is some of the courier, right, services, they have offered some service. Let's say, for example, you can order your fresh seafood from United States, and then it will arrive to Malaysia within less than 24 hours. Yeah, they have that. Okay, they're aggressive, but it will give you a cost, a very significant in terms of cost. Okay, so that's why when you want to eat an Alaskan crab, Alaskan crab, right? So you have to pay 200, 300, 500, even 600, even 1,000 ringgit to eat that Alaskan crab, because they get from American in fresh, right? Okay. So and then the other one is supplier selection strategy. Okay, for the efficient, they are going to they are trying to go for the cost and low quality. Means it's not low quality, it means that the quality that affordable for people to pay. Okay, but then it keeps efficiency in terms of utilization of the cost. Okay, but then in responsiveness is more to speed, flexibility, and quality. Okay, the other one, transportation. Okay, greater reliance on low cost modes of transportation, and then greater reliance on responsive fast mode transportation. Okay, so maybe you can go up to use a cargo service from the airlines. All right, but not the story regarding efficiency. All right, okay. All right, and then also other issues affecting strategic fit, multiple products. You have to handle that, and then there is a lot of customer segment. Not only you as a customers with the age of you, from 20 to 39, 38. Okay, but there is a lot of segment from maybe 18 to 20, 18 to 21, and then above 40 is all the customer segment. And also not only that, not only differentiate by the age, sometimes differentiate by the income. All right, so that's why when you do your project, okay, your project later, there will be a set of questionnaire. You have to do a survey. All right, so and in the survey you have to go for a categorization which fit to your project selection. Okay, maybe you are requiring people who came from the salaries above 4,000 ringgit, for example. All right, or maybe you want to go and focus for a customer that have a 40 years old and above. So it depends. All right, so because you are going to handle this because it affect a strategic fit, and also the product life cycle. All right, so consumable parts, consumable part, like consumables products, for example, goods, food processing, you have a very limited and short lifetime. Okay, how you want to handle that? All right, so is it makes sense if you do as distribution centers at long way from the shop that you have here, for example. Right, and then is it possible, okay, is it meet the demand, okay, when customer want to buy a product that have short life. So how you want to handle that? All right. So that's why when you own Lotus, for example, okay, when you go to the section of bread, right, um, Lotus have their own bakery section and kitchen to do their own bread. All right, and cake, for example. All right, and croissant. All right, and then the vendors that send the bread, okay, from other brands, right? They use their own lorry. They are not sending using a Lotus lorry. And if you ask for Gardenia, Gardenia lorries will come to your shop, to the Lotus, and fit in. Okay, so that's the thing. So, and then product life cycle, and also competitive change over time. Okay, all right, and then this is the thing. And also, okay, this is not. Okay, and then how you want to expand your strategic scope. Okay, scope of strategy, there's a lot of relation, okay, through the system in the company. All right, so the function and stages within supply chain that devise an integrated strategy with shared objective. Okay, so one extreme, each function at each stage develop its own strategy. Okay, another extreme is all function in all stage devises a strategy jointly. So you have to understand your policy, your business policy, for example, and then how you want to relate, okay, among your business function. For example, intra-companies, intra-operation scope, okay, intra-company, intra-functional scope, okay, intra-company, intra-company, intra-functional. So sorry, sini eh. All right, intra-company. This is wrong. All right. So intercompany, interfunctional. All right. So this is the scope. This is the biggest scope that you have. Sometimes it only involves the distributor itself. All right. Intercompany, interfunctional at distributor, or maybe intercompanies with the retailer. Okay. So that's have different objective sometimes. Okay. And the other extreme perspective, if you covers everything, right? The relation of your strategy fit in a scope of strategy fit in your organization. Okay. All right. Sorry, lupa lah nak record. All right. So then summary of learning objective. This is the most important thing. Why is achieving strategic fit critical to company overall success? So this is a favorite question. Sometimes this question is asking in a test. All right. So why this is important, and how does the company achieve a strategic fit between its supply chain strategy and its competitive strategy, and what is important of expanding the scope of strategic fit across the supply chain? So this thing you have to answer, okay, by doing more studies and refers to the textbook. You may be able to answer this question, right? Okay. All right. Any questions so far? Ada soalan tak? Okay. So how many of you we have now? I have 59. Nama yang tak ada. Alright, so you have to make sure you yourself attend the class, right? So you know that you have 80% of attendance for you to be able to attend for a final. Okay, so make sure yourself. So please build your integrities using your rights in the UTMs. So you have to understand that you are bound with the rules and regulation. So follow that. All right. So before we go for the next topic, so I'm going to explain regarding the group project. Okay. All right. So this is your group project. Okay. Listen, yeah. Listen carefully. Project. So the group project consists of 15%. All right. So another 5% is your peer assessment. Okay, so this peer assessment will be based on your group's collective decision in giving you a marks. Okay, so scope of for your project. All right, so you need to select a company's either retailer, distributor, manufacturer, or suppliers in one of the supply chain network. Okay, so you can go to anywhere of any potential retailer, distributor, manufacturers, or suppliers in one of the supply chain network. Okay, my suggestion is don't go for a big company because you only have less than 10 weeks to finish. Okay, so go something that may be easy for you to reach. All right, for example, companies that have somewhere in Taman University. Okay, maybe you can go for 99 Speedmart in somewhere near in your reaching. Okay, so go with that. Okay, last semester there is some of the student, they asked to do this project in Proton because I'm used to work with Proton, so I did mention to them that that's not possible. All right, so because you have to travel there. Okay, and then and there's a lot of there is a lot of bureaucracy. Okay, for you to go and be yourself in the companies. Okay, there's a lot of documentation that need to be done. So that's the thing. So you cannot go as difficult as that company, right? Big companies. Just go for maybe 7-Eleven, things. Any small supply chain network. All right. So maybe cakes, maybe any cakes, online cakes. I don't know. So you can go there. So the selected company is considered a case study for your groups. All right. So group members should not exceed 5. So that's why I'm telling you that maximum is 5. Okay. So the objective of the project are as follow. Okay. So number 1. Okay. So this objective, okay, is based on the topics that you learn in this course. Okay, so for example, A, to identify supply chain strategy and competitive strategy adopted by the organization, name of the company, right? So you have to come with the name of company. It's a real company, don't made up the company. So it's a real company. Okay, I need a real company, but don't go for a big company. Okay. And then to analyze the supply chain design of selected organization. Okay, supply chain design we are going to learn in the next few weeks. Okay, to identify the criteria for suppliers selection by the selected organization. All right, how they select the suppliers. All right, so you have to understand the organization, who's the the CEO, the CEO of company. Let's say for example, how many vendors they have, how many suppliers they appoint. So you have to go and ask them. So that's why this will end with it's not end. You start yourself with the questionnaire. So you have to build your own questionnaire. All right. So, and then what else? Okay, and to measure the performance of supply chain using the score models or balance scorecard or any measurement system available for the selected organization network. Okay, so I'm going to share one of it later. I think if I manage to finish the supply chain drivers, then I will show to you one of the example of score model. And then E to propose or suggest an improvement for the selected organization network to improve the current weakness. So at the end of the day, what you have to do, propose or suggest an improvement. So that's the key things. So propose and improve for selected organization. Okay, so A, B, C, and D is how you investigate. And from the investigation, okay, from the analysis that you have in A, B, C, and D, at the end, is you propose or suggest any improvement that can improve their current weaknesses. Okay, what is their current weaknesses? You have to do a research and investigation on that. Okay, for other topics, please obtain approval from the lecturers before week 7. Okay, so you may discuss with the team, and then start from next week. Okay, 1 hours of the class on Sunday. So I'm going to open for you to discuss, maybe group 1 or group 2. Maybe you have how many groups? I don't know. I think you guys, some of you guys, one of you guys, maybe you can start to do the list, okay, in the WhatsApp groups. So list group 1, group 2, group 3, and so on and so forth. All right. And then so today is, I think, this is week 4. So you have another 2 weeks, week 4, 5, 5, 6, 7. All right. So you can discuss what is the types of business that you're going to go for. All right. So any retailer or distributor or manufacturer, okay, or suppliers. So have to choose one. Okay. So maybe there will be some comment from me. Okay, if I say that, oh, this is not possible, because I know the quantum of it, all right, the magnitudes, how we are going to finish this. So if I think that is not possible, then I will make my comment. All right. Okay, and then format for the content of the reports, right? So what you have to do here is you have to have your introduction. This is number 1. Okay, that's the detail of it. So background organization, the org chart, okay, the design of supply chain structures, how they do the networks. Okay, that's the introduction. How they do and organize the location, maybe what are the current activities daily, all right, what kind of service they provide, okay, how many workers, objective, scope, and problem statement. Okay, and then number 2, you go for a literature review. Okay, so literature review, you can go beyond what you have in the class. All right, you can go for not only the Chopra books, all right, maybe you can go more to the any resources, maybe conference paper, maybe journals, all right, maybe news from the newspapers, so anything that could help you, okay, in doing this project. Okay, so that's the literature review. Okay, so that's the thing that you are going to find out in your literature review, and not limited to what being stated here. All right, and then number 3, your methodology, your procedure. Okay, procedure to collect data and analyze data to achieve object. How you want to do? Okay, for example, maybe you do the literature review, and then you set your questionnaire. For example, you do your interviews, data analysis from the interviews. Okay, and then come up with a solution, or maybe do a several meeting. It depends on you. You have to develop your own methodology. All right. All right. So and then number 4 is data collection and analysis. So how you want to get the data. So you have to state in your methodology. Let's say, for example, the data came from the reports of Malaysian industrial trades. That's, you have to mention that, and maybe there is a report on that. Okay, so you can do that as well. All right, so it is open. All right, this is for you to be creative in defining all the resources, all right, that you have. Okay, so all the information is just on your fingertips. All right, so you can go and browse. All right, so that's the thing that I'd like to say, that if you couldn't find any literature review that it shows how lazy you are. Okay, so make sure that you give a proper balance of tasks each of your team members. Okay, and then result. Okay, so on the result, okay, to include detailed result of analysis and highlight the findings. Okay, and then suggestion for improvement. What is your suggestion? What is your list of improvement? Maybe some of the discussion, right? Comparison before and after. Okay, so you may do that, okay, and show it in your reports. Okay, and then a discussion, discuss findings that include one subtopics on sustainability issues related to supply chain management. Okay, so you may be made up. It's not made up. It's you put some subtopics of sustainability as well. Okay, in your discussion. Okay, and then come to end is your conclusion. So use a reference. So all the references from the literature you need to list your references. Okay, using Harvard style format. And then also reflection. So reflection, each team must write your rules. Okay, job completion, prepare document for the project, and reflection during the journey to complete the project. Okay, so the reflection you have to submit separately, not in one reports. Okay, so the reports contain 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 8 and 10. Okay, so the reflection, sorry, so you have to include everything in one report. Sorry, it's not a team assessment, right? So they're just a reflection. Okay, so 10 things, right? So make sure that you organize your team. So you have 5, maybe, maybe some of you will do the introduction. So maybe you have to discuss. Okay, so I leave it to you how you want to do your meeting. So every week I'm going to ask in terms of progress. So I've tried to use a 1 hour's meeting. Okay, start from next week. Okay, on Sunday. All right, so I'm going to ask the progress of it. So where you at currently. So every week. So and then format for preparing reports. All right, so please read carefully. The report should not more than 30 pages. Okay, not include appendix and also attachment. Okay, please make sure that, because there is your seniors, sometimes your seniors last time submit up to 50 pages. I have to deduct their marks. I stopped where it shows 30, then I've stopped. Okay, right, and then use font size 12, right, times New Roman with spacing of 1.5, and the margin are as follows: top and bottom margin is 1 inch, left margin 1.25 inch, and the right margin is 1.0. Okay, and then use ring binding with transparency cover. Okay, I just want you to submit soft copy. Soft copy in PDF file. Okay. Okay, just a soft copy. So we're going to save the world. Don't print and use this. So I just want to have a soft copy. So the report must be written in English. So I'm not accepting bahasa. All right. So in English, and the report must have a front page, table of content, body text, conclusion, reference, and appendix. Okay, you know, basically you have to follow the standard of thesis, your final year project thesis. Okay, so number 7, should you caught cheating and plagiarizing, okay, materials from friends, you receive a strong and serious punishment, for example 0 marks. So I'm going to open the Turnitin as well for you to submit your Turnitin reports. Okay, and and together you have to put it in your reports as a proof in the appendix. And number 8, should you want to include materials from the internet, journal, article, textbook, please include a citation. All right, so don't just put a picture and leave it hanging like this. So you have to have a citation. Okay, figure 1 shows what, blah, 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 blah. Or figure 1 mention blah, blah, blah. Okay, so you have to have your citation. All right. So if you don't have that in structured mark, I will deduct your marks. Okay, and then the next one is the all right. So all figures table must be numbered. All right. Accordingly, have a title or description and refer to the in the next text. All right. For example, don't just put the pictures or table without explain it in the text or in the statement in your reports. Okay. All right. So this is your practice. Okay, in doing your final year project. Okay. So make sure all pictures, all tables, you have to have a citation, and also you have to have a statement. All right. Okay, regarding that figures. Okay, so don't leave it like that. Don't leave it hanging. Okay. All right, and then number 10, all marks report will not be returned, and please make an extra copy for yourself, and then write your name on each page footers that you are responsible to do. Okay, so let's say for example, 2 of you responsible in doing the introduction, so you have to write down your name. Okay, at the footers. So who's in charge on that? Okay, this is just, you know, make sure that you giving a proper balance in distributing the work. Okay, so I'm going to open for a discussion for the titles. All right. So the project report must be submitted 2 times. The first submission of progress report must be submitted a week after mid semester break, and the final report must be submitted day before final exam. Okay, so progress reports, just a progress report. Okay, I think mid-weeks is not enough for you to progress the reports. But I need in week up to week 7 we are going to finalize that. Okay, so I'm going to make sure that if you follow these rules, all right, so we are not going to have this progress report in the mid. Okay, you just straight away submit your report. And also we are going to have a presentation on that. Okay. Sorry guys. Okay, any question regarding this? Ada soalan tak?
Doktor?
Ya.
Katalah, saya cakap Melayu.
Boleh.
Katalah kalau kita kenal someone from a company, boleh tak kita just interview dia? So, kita kena juga pergi company tu ke macam mana?
Itu terpulang pada awak. Kalau awak boleh interview, maknanya access using only the platform of online, then okay, tak ada masalah.
So, tak perlu site visit lah. Macam kalau kita kenal orang macam retailer ke apa kan?
Macam retailer, kalau dia macam ni, you can get more experience if you go physically there. Okay, but if you are not be able to go there because of sometimes I know sometimes retailer atau manufacturer dia tak bagi kita nak masuk, especially on this kind of pandemic kan. Walaupun endemic, sometimes dia orang susah nak bagi kita masuk. Then online meeting is almost welcome as well. But then maybe some sort of a proof that you have a meeting with them, okay, and put it in the reports. All right. Okay.
Faham tak?
Okay, right. Are there any more question? Ada lagi soalan? Okay, so what you have to do, sit with among your groups, discuss about company first. Okay, my suggestion, don't go for a big company. If you see, let's say you have someone in big companies and you have an access, then it should be no problems. Okay, but then if you don't have any contacts and you just want to go there, that's not easy things to do lah. All right, or let's say maybe you have contacts within your apa nama during your internship, maybe you can get that. It's up to you. All right, so you have to discuss with the team among your team. Okay. Right, any more question? All right, one more thing is there is a set of 5% of peer assessment. All right, so I'm going to share to you later. So how it works in peer assessment. It will affect your marks. Okay, let's say for example, you get score 3. Okay, 5% you get 3%. Okay, out of 5. Okay, so let's say for example 5% equals to 100. Okay, so nanti later 3%, this is 525, 3%, 20. We are going to do a fraction of it. Let's say for example, your finals group projects, let's say you get 15. Let's say for example you get 100. Okay, if let's say for example your peer assessment shows 3%, okay, so it will be a fraction of your score of hundreds. Okay, faham tak maksud saya? Okay, so I'm going to use this as well in giving you your final marks in your project. So I'm not going to get 100, 15 out of 15 on your projects. I will depend on the peer assessment as well, just to make sure that you in your teams, okay, give extra teamwork, okay, on doing this. Okay, let's say for example, all the groups get hundreds. Okay, 15 out of 15, hundreds. So I'm going to use a fraction as well. Okay, so let's say for example 3% of it, 3%, hundreds, 25, 20, so 26, 0.6. Okay, let's say for example 0.6. Okay, so 0.6, let's say for example 0.6 fraction. Okay, so 0.6 will be parked here. Okay, or 0.7 or 0.8. Let's say for example you get 0.8. Okay, in terms of the fraction. So 100 times 0.8 is 80%. Okay, so 80%. Okay, so I'm going to use this fraction to give you a score. Okay, in your final reports. Okay, I know that this is a team, but then I depend on the peer assessment as well. Okay, so nothing to worry. Okay, this is just for a fairness in the groups. Okay, those who katakan ada orang complain kan, there's a complaint from someone, they say for example, okay, this guy blah blah blah, okay, don't give enough cooperation and things. Okay, so that's how it should be, okay, in giving marks in your groups project. Okay, all right, any more question? Okay, so reports submit end, all right, before a day before finance. You have 10 weeks actually. So and then the topics will be go progressively, all right. So means that sorry, it's not topic. Yeah, the topic to cover the objective will go concurrently together. Okay, so let's say for example at that time we entering the network, so you have to learn about network, and then you try to find and do a research on that. Okay, relates to your titles of topic. Okay, so that's all. No more question. Okay, if you have any more question, maybe you can ask later. All right. So I'm going to give this to you in the e-learning. Yeah, I'm going to post this in the. All right. Okay, so next topic, okay, is the supply chain drivers and obstacle. Okay, so what does it mean of supply chain drivers? Okay, let's say, for example, if you want to reduce your costs, okay, you have your drivers, how you want to reduce the cost. For example, use less water. That's the drivers, how you want to reduce the cost. Or maybe less the claim of medicals. Okay, so that's your drivers. So you want to reduce your cost, you want to less the claim of medicals. So how you want to do is you have to make sure that you are your team in the organization practice a very healthy diet, for example. All right, so make sure that your team is not obese. All right, okay, so that's how you drive towards that. Okay, this is the same thing. All right, so you want to make sure that your supply chain is successful. Okay, in doing the jobs. Okay, you have to understand the set of drivers. Okay, and how there is what is the challenge, right, obstacle. All right, so learning objective here today, okay, is to identify the major drivers of supply chain performance, discuss the roles of each drivers, okay, in creating a strategic fit, okay, between the supply chain strategy and competitive strategy, and define key metrics that track the performance of the supply chain in terms of each drivers. All right, so guys, sorry, I'm not facing you in front of camera because my slide, my monitors is on my right. Okay, so that's the monitor that I can write down things. So I have to go and always put myself to the right. Okay, and then define the key metrics. Okay, performance. So outline is is this. Okay, drivers of supply chain performance, the framework for structuring drivers, facilities, inventory, transportation, information sourcing, and pricing. Okay, so an obstacle to it. So we are going to learn one by one. This is a key of it. The drivers. Okay, it's not very. It's not quite. It's not difficult because I think this is quite straightforward. Okay, so I think you can understand easily. Okay, drivers of supply chain performance. The strategic fit discussed in chapter 2. We learn about the strategic fit. Requires a company achieve the balance between responsiveness and efficiency. So let's say that's why you have to put yourself, okay, your companies in this region, okay, zone of strategic fit. Okay, try to make sure that you manage, okay, to make sure that it is balanced, right? Balance between the responsiveness and efficiency. So let's say, for example, if you go for responsiveness, okay, let's say, for example, you have to increase your inventory. Don't increase ridiculously. All right, you have to plan, strategize, okay, manage that. Okay, you have to make sure that you go for efficiency as well. Okay, that's why I make sure that if you want to have a buffer or any extra inventories, you have to follow the min-max control, the EOQ. Okay, and then in order to understand how a company can improve, okay, improve supply chain performance in terms of responsiveness and efficiency, logistical and cross-functional driver must be examined. You have to understand. Okay, so for you to go to the improve zone, you have to know your problem statement. So you have to understand how the companies works, how the supply chain works, and then you can give your suggestion. So that's the thing that you learn, okay, in your group projects. Okay, the drivers interact with others, each others to determine the supply chain performance in terms of responsiveness and efficiency. Okay. So drivers of supply chain and performance. Okay, we talk about some of the logistical drivers. All right, logistic drivers. It's not drivers who drive the lorry, not that. It is what kind of item or elements that you have to um, um, to give an extra concern on that. All right. So number one, in terms of the logistic. Okay, the logistic include facilities, inventory, and also transportation. Okay, number one is your facilities. Okay, how big your facility is. So what kind of products that you are going to store. Okay, how big? Okay, are you going to do assemblies in your facilities, or maybe are you going to fabricate, or maybe you just subcontract to something. So you have to understand your facilities ability. All right, and then also production site and storage site. How big you have, okay, for your green areas, all right, to create your storage. Okay, and then number three, decision regarding roles, location, capacity, and flexibility of facilities have a significant impact on the supply chain performance. Okay, so this is quite straightforward. Okay, understand your facilities. Okay, how big you have. Okay, and then next one is your inventory. Okay, you have to understand your raw materials. All right, your work in progress. Okay, the one that still have in your pipeline. So how many you're going to produce. Okay, your finished good. Okay, something that you ready to ship out from your factories. Okay, and within a supply chain. Okay, so when we talk about inventories, we talk about input, we talk about process, talk about output. Okay, so input is we call it as a raw materials. Okay, so in process we call it work in progress. Okay, output will be the goods, finished goods. Okay, finished good. Okay, this is what it's all about. Okay, with regards to this statement. Okay. All right, and then inventory policies. All right. So I have one story when I was in Volkswagen. All right, so I received parts from India. All right, for Volkswagen Polo, for Volkswagen Polo. So there is an inventory policies. So when the parts leave the Volkswagen India, okay, leave outside from the factories, just out from the compound of the Volkswagen, all the costs bear by Volkswagen in Malaysia. Okay, let's say for example, you go for shipping, okay, and then suddenly when you receive the parts in Malaysia and you open it, the box, and then there is a lot of scratch happens due to handling problems, for example. Okay, you cannot charge Volkswagen India. You have to pay to buy new one. Okay, to replenish the scratch parts of components. Okay, so that's the inventory policy. Okay, sometimes can dramatically alter supply chain efficiency and responsiveness. Okay, that's why, let's say for example, when there is a lot of a lot of scratch happen, okay, to the components, and then you have to pay that. So the cost, you have to bear the cost, not the Volkswagen in India. So you have to do, if you have to strategize how you want to make sure that it can it can arrive, all the parts can arrive, all the components can arrive safely, okay, in your compound. Okay, so that's inventory policies. Okay, and also, for example, Zara provide responsiveness at low cost by shorten new products and replenish the load truck. Okay, okay. All right, so one of the example. And then transportation is moving inventory from point to point in the supply chain. A combination of transportation modes and routing. All right, for example, all right, so modes, maybe you use ship, maybe you use lorry, a truck. Okay, so maybe you use a truck, 40 footers, 20 footers. All right, it depends. All right, and also what kind of routing you want to use. Are you going to use highway? Are you going to use a B road, a state road, for example, a federal state road? Okay, you are not going to use any highway, for example. That's will make a difference as well. Okay, and then Mac, Mastercard, and CW structured as to provide next day using ground transport. Okay, so for example, next. Okay, next. Kalau you tengok next lorry, next is a companies that have sell, you know, a fashion, sell food. Okay, next. Can go next. Okay, next. They always supply a fresh every day. So how they do, there's a lot of supply chain networks everywhere in London, in the UK. Okay, so you always see next lorry, okay, or truck by 20 footers or 40 footers every days, okay, go around the United Kingdom. Okay, so that's how, I don't know how they do that, but then they manage to do that and keep all the food fresh. Okay, all right, and then next, information. So data and analysis regarding inventory. Okay, potential the biggest drivers of supply chain performance, because it directly affects each of other drivers as well, and able to increase responsible while lowering the cost. So information, okay, so you use AI technology, for example. All right, you use IoT, Internet of Things, cloud services. Right, so this kind of information can speed up the process. Okay, so this also helps in supply chain performance. And then the other one is sourcing. Okay, to choose who will perform a particular supply chain activity, such as production, storage, transportation, or the management in form of information sourcing. Okay, function, affirm, and perform and function that are outsourced. Okay, so you have to go which is the best. Okay, you are going to do in-house, maybe you are going to do outsourcing. Okay, and it depends. All right, so sourcing also play a role, okay, in increase or in affecting the supply chain performance. Okay, and also for example, Motorola outsourced its production to China, resulting low cost but low responsiveness due to long distance. Okay, so that's the thing. All right, so when you go for a third party, okay, you go outsourcing. Yes, you can sometimes reduce the cost. Okay, but then it will take a quite slow responsiveness because of long distance, for example. Okay, so you have to make a choice. All right, in making a decision, which course are you going to go for? All right, and then also the pricing. Of course, price associated with goods and services provided by a firm to supply chain, so affect the behavior of the buyers of the goods or service, thus affecting supply chain performance. Okay, so different charge or transportation affect the buyer's behavior. So that's why you see a lot of problems here now in Malaysia. Okay, so we are controlling the price of the goods. All right, so they are not jumping too much, but then at the same time, the inflation raising, okay, and then all the parts or maintenance of the lorries, some of the services is getting high, but then you have to sell the products at the same price, so it will lead to the losses of having a good maintenance, so resulting a lot of safety things happen in the highway lah, and tayar tercabut, alright, a blow out of tires, for example. Okay, the lorries suddenly doesn't have a brakes, for example. So it's result from this kind of pricing. It will affect that. Okay. All right. Okay. And then a framework for structuring drivers. So you have two, which is logistical drivers and also cross functional drivers. Okay. When we talk about logistic, we talk about physical. Okay, we talk about facilities, we talk about inventory, and also we talk about transportation. And when we talk about cross-functional drivers, we talk about information, how you want to receive, okay, how you want to submit and receive the information, the sourcing, how you want to do, okay, how you want to appoint your vendors, okay, and also pricing, how you want to fix the price. So the thing is, those drivers, right, logistical and also cross-functional drivers, it's sometimes not only cross each other, but also sometimes cross into the entire system. All right. So that's make it the performance to achieve the performance is quite challenging. Okay, we are going to learn about the obstacle. So, all right. So, any question so far, guys? Yeah. Alright, okay, thank you Amirul. Tak ada soalan Tak ada soalan ni mesti score ni kalau mesti test satu ni. Okay. So role of the facilities, role in supply chain, role in competitive strategy for the facilities. Okay. How the supply chain can play a role in the facilities. Okay, so where of supply chain. So you can find it. Okay, where of the supply chain you want to go to. So you have to understand your geographical, okay, your money, your abilities to pay, or facilities, for example. Are you renting or are you own the facilities? Okay, and then also manufacturing or storage or warehouse. Okay, so that's the role. Okay, so role in competitive strategy. Okay, facilities are the key drivers. Okay, can gain economies of scale. Okay, so you can refer to subject that we learned before. Okay, the chapter 1 and also chapter 2. Okay, and relates to the facilities. Okay, in a way that helping the supply chain performance. Okay, when we talk about chapter 1, okay, to relates to this topic is more to the understand where of the supply chain you want to cover, right? Which areas, right? Let's say, for example, Ninja Van, they are more focusing on southern region, for example. So where is it? Okay, let's say Shopee, they covers more in Peninsula, Malaysia, for example. Okay, so where of the supply chain? And then manufacturing or storage, where you want to build your storage. Let's say, for example, Alibaba, they have a storage, a warehouse in KLIA 2, the old KLIA 2. So build a very big warehouse there. Okay, so because it is easy for them to receive goods from overseas, right, straight away from the cargoes, and then after that they're processing that kind of products. That's the facilities. And how in roles to achieve the competitive strategy. Okay, so you know that facilities are key, okay, drivers for the supply chain performance. Okay, and then you can gain economy of scale when the product is manufactured or stored in only one location. You go for, let's say, for example, centralization, okay, may increase the efficiency. So that's the role of strategy. What kind of strategy? Okay, to help you to achieve your performance. Okay, that the drivers is facilities to help to achieve the performance. Okay, you have to play a role in deciding the competitive strategy. Which one are you going to have? A facilities in central, okay, or maybe you have a few point of distribution centers. So it depends. Okay, and then larger numbers of smaller facilities, responsiveness priority, right? So if you have a large numbers of small facilities, right, for example, apa nama, macam 7-Eleven, 99 Speed Mart, okay, you scattered and DIY, so all those kind of companies, they are scattered, okay, in everywhere. Okay, so that's will respond quite positive lah, because you sometimes they have their own small distribution centers that easy to handle, and it will give you a very short, very good responsive. All right. So example 3.1, Toyota and Honda use facility decision to be more responsive to the customer. All right. So it depends, right? In Japan, yes, but in Malaysia, oh yeah, we have both. Yeah, in Malaysia we have Toyota, BMWs, and also Honda Malaysia. All right. Okay. So that's the same. Okay, facilities benefit to opening local facilities, including protection from currency fluctuation and trade barriers, thus increase the responsiveness. Okay, that's why most of the companies, they normally they are planning to open the factories in that particular areas. Okay, for example, Honda, they have its own factories in Melaka. All right, so Honda Malaysia, and Toyotas also have their own factories in Malaysia, in Shah Alam. Okay, ASSB, Automotive, apa benda? Sdn Bhd. Okay, so they are now planning to have that kind of thing. And then the same goes to Geely. All right, Geely, a counterpart of Protons. They are built. They have their own factories in China, but also they make a Proton as a hub for the right-hand drive cars, okay, to be exported to other regions, part of regions in Asia. All right. Okay, so flexible Honda facilities to assemble both SUV cars and cars in the same plant allow company to cut down in the downturn of 2008. SUV sales dropped, but Honda kept maintain a high level of utilization. So one factories now can produce many types of size of cars. Okay. All right. So for example, Volkswagen, okay, in one plant, they can produce cars. Now they producing Tiguan as well as SUV at the same factories, right? So that's how it goes. How do you want to go for the flexibility? Okay, and then component of facilities decision. Okay, the location, the capacity, the manufacturing methodology, warehousing methodology. Okay, and overall trade-off. Okay, so how you want to do a trade-off of responsive versus efficiency. Okay. Inventory, its role in supply chain, role in competitive strategy, and component of decision. So we're going to go one by one. Okay, role in supply chain. Okay. Why inventory exists? You have to understand that because of the mismatch between supply and demand. Okay, sometimes the demand say I want 1000 X50, okay, but supply have 500. Okay, there will be a a mismatch on the based on demand versus supply. So how to balance? Okay, so that's why sometimes they order a little bit more, okay, and keep some inventory for a safe side, okay, to make sure that the close of having a mismatch is can be reached, okay. And a source of cost and influence on responsiveness, okay, and then impact on the material flow, time elapsed between when materials enter the supply chain into when it exists the supply chain, all right. So the throughput lah, so the first in first out, all right. So it will impact that flow time. Okay, let's say for example you have the demand is increasing but you don't have enough supply, so people a customer will wait a little bit longer to receive their products, okay. So it will give a huge impact, all right. Okay, role in competitive strategy. If responsiveness is a strategic competitive priorities, a firm can locate a larger amount of inventory closer to the customer, okay. But for inventory, locate larger amount closer to the customer, okay. But you have to have a very proper trade-off. See that? Okay. So between the efficiency and also the responsiveness, okay. If cost is more important, inventory can be reduced to make the firm more efficient. See that? Okay. Let's say for example you go for a cost, okay. So you have to control inventories to make sure that you have just in time, okay. So very minimum inventories you have and to control, okay. All right. So for example in Asia, all right, so sometimes not all flights can go for a service, right, to fly. Why? Because sometimes they interchange the parts. Okay, let's say for example you have two same aircraft, okay. So this aircraft have a problems with something, okay. They can change that components and put in that flight, okay, so that it can do a service, okay, and then the other one will put in a rest, okay. So that's how it works, okay. That's if you go for efficient, then you have to lowering your inventory, okay. So component of inventory decision, the cycle inventory, average amount of inventory used to satisfy demand between shipment, depend on lot size. Increase a lot size could increase a carrying cost, okay. So when we talk about inventory, so that's why inventory is put under a waste, okay, in lean manufacturing, okay. But then because if you increase the inventories, you are going to increase the lot size, okay. When you increase the lot size, let's say for example 1 lot equals to 30 units in 1 lot, okay, you increase that and you increase the carrying cost, okay. You increase the transportation, you increase the the shipping cost, for example, okay, because of this. So you have to be balanced, okay. And then safety inventory held in case demand exceed expectation, cost of carrying too much inventory versus cost of losing sales, okay. And then if too much safety stock, SS, okay, product go unsold and may have to be discontinued. So that's the thing that I did mention to you, okay. In the case of CTR app, okay, they have a very high orders in terms of the composite materials that have a very short short lifetime, okay. So and suddenly pandemic happened, the sales decreased to 50% and 50% is unsold, and then we have to scrap that, okay. The money just wipe off, okay. So that's how you have to be wise enough to set your inventory, okay, and put in a safety measure lah. So the EOQ is the most important. Okay, this one. Okay, safety stock. Okay, your min-max. Okay, seasonal inventory, ice cream inventory built up to counter predictable variability in demand, cost of carrying additional inventory versus cost of flexible production. So that's the thing. One thing is seasonal inventory. Okay, so for example, we go for an example of H&M. Okay, they are producing a garment apa ni a cloth and they have to respect to the season, okay, to each of the season. So in the UK they have a 4 season types, okay. So if they just focus on the winter, okay, so other season they are not going to sell their products, okay. So what they do, they covers all 4 seasons to make sure that they are survive. Okay, so what will happen to the winter clothes, right? So let's say for example UK entering the hot season, okay, and then you have the balance of your winter clothes. So what they do, they send it to other parts of the world, right? For example, maybe in Australia, because Australia's if the UK facing the hot season, okay, the Australia they are going to facing a winter season, okay, so they just send it there, okay. And then for example, if the hot season close, okay, so if the UK enter to the winter season, okay, so all the hot season clothes they are sending to to Asia, all right, to Asia, okay, for example Malaysia, okay, and many more, okay, that have one season, okay. And then overall trade-off responsiveness versus efficiency, okay. Again, you have to do a trade-off. Okay, more inventory, greater responsible but greater cost. So you have to pay everything, inventory, warehousing, people who arrange that and manage the inventory. So you have to pay, okay. And then you have to maybe renting a forklift, okay, and then you have to move to here and there, okay. So it will cost you more. Less inventory, lower cost, but low responsiveness, okay. So that's why you have to balance. Okay, the next one is transportation role in the supply chain. What is the role? Supply chain roles is competitive strategies and component of transportation decision. Okay, so if you can see here, role in the supply chain, move the products between stage, okay, in the supply chain. That's the transportation. So you want to move your products from point A to point B, okay. So impact on responsiveness and efficiency. Okay, faster transportation allow greater responsiveness but lower efficiency. Okay, see, and also affect inventory and facility. If number of trip versus space for inventory. Okay, so that's why one of the cost-saving initiative in CTRM is to maximize the efficiency of inventory space, including the container. Okay, the container that shipping products to Boeing and also to Airbus. So we go and improvise the capacity of the container, 20 footers and 40 footers, to make sure it is utilized as much as possible. Okay, so we managed to reduce that, all right, the cost of shipping and renting a container. Okay, so roles in the competitive strategy. If responsiveness is the strategic competitive priority, then faster transportation modes can provide greater responsiveness to customers who are willing to pay for it. See that? So high responsiveness, you have to pay more. Okay. I still remember my mom sent me Hari Raya cookies from Malaysia to UK. every year, right? So I think I've experienced using two different courier, okay, from Post Laju and also from DHL, okay. So DHL costs you more. It costs you around, I think I have to pay around 600 ringgit to, from Malaysia to UK, because it use apa ni, aeroplane lah. So you send it here in Malaysia by today, you are going to receive that 3 days later lah, okay, to your areas, okay. And it is so fresh. The cookies is so fresh. But if you go for Post Laju, it costs you 200. Okay, it take up to 3 weeks for you to receive your cookies. Okay, and then you open your cookies from Post Laju, everything is not look like a cookies anymore. Okay. Okay, so that's how difference. You have to pay extra 400. Okay, you have to willing to pay. Okay, and also can also use a slower transportation mode for customer whose priorities is the price. Okay, so macam contoh, for example, if you order Shopee kan, they have the standard shipping cost. Okay, and then also they have maybe a speedy shipping cost, right? So we give an option to them, okay, to choose, because customers have a right, all right? So we cannot just go put a conclusion that everyone want a cost affordable shipping companies. Sometimes they need very fast response and they're willing to pay. Okay. And then the third one, example, Blue Nile, so you can read in the textbook. Okay, so component of transportation decision first is mode of transport. Okay, we are going to learn about this, right? So let's say, for example, truckload, TL, and also less truckload. Is it possible for you? Is it necessary for you to order for a truckload or not? Okay, so there will be a calculation on that. Okay, so mode of transportation by air, maybe truck, rail, ship, okay, pipeline, so electronics transportation. Okay, so that's can be varies, right? So vary in cost, speed, size of shipment, and also flexibility. It depends. Okay, and then route and network selection. So for routing, path along which a product is shipped, and also there will be a network, so a collection of location and routing. Okay. What else? And then overall trade-off, yes, of course, responsiveness and also efficiency. Okay, so if you want to have a very good responsiveness in terms of transportation, maybe you can go for air transport. Okay, but if you have a limitation on cost, maybe you can go for a rail, okay, or maybe a truck, okay, or ship, for example. Okay. So information role in supply chain. Okay, we are going to learn about this. Okay, information, the connection between various stages in the supply chain allows coordination between stages. Okay, so crucially to daily operation of each stage in supply chain, for example, production scheduling, inventory control. All right, so all the information need to be in one. Okay, in one group, okay, so that you can easily manage them. Okay, so when to order, when you want to send the raw materials to production, so you have to have this kind of set of feedback loops, okay, in terms of the information. And then what else? Good information can help improve utilization and responsiveness of the facility as well. Okay, so this information could help you in managing your inventory. Okay, and then balance it between the responsiveness and also the efficiency. Okay, So for example, 7-Eleven Japan uses information to improve product availability while decreasing inventory. Okay. Okay. And then Walmart use information on shipment from suppliers to facilitate cross-docking and lower in inventory and transportation expenses. Okay, that's the cross-docking we are going to learn as well. Okay, so and then AirAsia use information to offer a discount price for number of seat. Okay. So for a competitive strategy, allow supply chain to become more efficient and more responsive at the same time. Okay, and reduce the needs for trade-off. See that you have to manage your information in very efficient way. Okay, because it allows supply to become more efficient and more responsive. You can balance that. Okay, so this is what we call it as a data analytics. Okay, you use data, manage that data to make sure that your process is in very good manner. Okay, and then information technologies. So you have to build, IoT, cloud services. So, and even you can track your performance of your machine. Okay. So, and it depends what information is most valuable. Right. So have a read in the Dell example as well. And then components for information, decision, MRP system, push and pull, okay, coordination, information sharing, forecasting, okay, enabling technologies, okay, using the internet, okay, and so on and so forth. Okay, ni tak perlu. Right. Simon, wait. Okay, so sourcing role in the supply chain. Okay, apa dia role in supply chain for a sourcing? Set of business process required a purchase good and service in a supply chain. So supplier selection, single versus multiple supplier, contract negotiation. Okay, that's a sourcing. Okay, so you are going to, either you go for a single sourcing or maybe multiple sourcing. Okay, so sourcing decisions are crucial, okay, because they affect the level of efficiency and responsiveness in supply chain. So I think I just threw a question last time in the class. So why we should have many suppliers, right? Many sourcing, okay? To first to compete with the price, yes, and then the second was to make sure we are not having an issue of of a shortage of the components. Okay, so in-house or outsource decision improving efficiency and responsiveness. Okay, so component of sourcing decision. So in-house versus outsource decision, supply evaluation and selection, procurement process. So you have to understand that before you go for decision of having a single sourcing or maybe multiple sourcing, you have to have the suppliers evaluation and selection. So with that, okay, you are going to use this as a proof, evidence. It's not proof, it's evidence. So evidence, all right, and then this evidence will be bring to the management meeting. Okay. Okay, after that, they are going to procurement process for investigation. Okay, and then after that, there will be a go green or go red. Okay, go or no go to having that. So there will be some set of evaluation. So this kind of evaluation also maybe you can ask in your group projects. Okay, you can ask your company, that companies, respective companies, and how they are doing this suppliers evaluation, how they select. Okay. And then the next one is pricing. Okay, so pricing, the role in supply chain, determine the amount of charge customers in the supply chain. So how many? So that's the difference between DHL and also Pos Laju. Okay, I have to pay 600 and then I use that, pay 200 and receive the same biscuit but in different shape. Okay, so and pricing strategies can be used to match demand and also supply. So the roles in the competitive strategy, sourcing, pricing ni silap So this one is for sourcing. Okay, so it has relation. Okay. Firm can utilize optimal pricing strategies to improve efficiency and responsiveness. See that? I pay more, I get a very good shape of Hari Raya cookies. I pay less, then I receive the cookies but in different shape. Okay, so low price and low product availability vary prices by response times. Okay, so everything you buying time. Okay, so in this world, time is not free, so you're buying time. Okay, so component of pricing decision, number one, pricing and economy of scale. Okay, everyday low pricing versus high low pricing. Okay, so this is you can compare AirAsia with Malaysia Airlines, for example. Okay, so let's say for example, AirAsia go for very low pricing compared to Malaysia Airlines, right? But then in low pricing, if you have a cost concern on that, okay, you still can fly. But if you want to eat, you have to pay by yourself. Okay, and that's different with Malaysia Airlines. The food is provided. Okay, even you can have asking for more meals if you want. All right, so that's the difference. Okay, pricing and economies of scale. So you have to understand when you do your group projects. Okay, you have to know about this. Okay, the economy of scales. What is the target? What is the focus groups for each of the companies? All right. So for the case of Proton, for example, and Produas, the focus groups is different. They are not targeting someone who can buy Mercedes or someone who can buy, BMWs. Okay, they are targeting a masses market. All right. Okay. So that's the difference. Okay. And then fixed price versus menu pricings. All right. And also if you have a very good balance on it, okay, you can increase the firm profits. Okay, when you go to a low price, okay, you are heading to a very high quantity. Okay, all right. Okay, that's why everyone can fly in Asia. Okay, everyone can fly. Okay, so increase in quantity. All right, so obstacle to achieve a strategic fit is increasing variety of product. That's the obstacle. Okay, customer asking many kind of needs. Okay, sometimes one products cannot serve all needs, so you have to have a plenty of product, a varieties of products. So increase the product is one of the obstacle to achieve strategic fit. So you have to sometimes go in deeper research and also investigation, do a proper survey. Is it worth it for you to introduce another products? Okay, and then decreasing product life cycle. Okay, so now product development is quite rapid. All right, quite rapid. Okay, we are not talking about 24 months for you to have a new cars. Okay, so now they are decreasing up to 13 to 18 months. Okay, to come up with the new models of cars, for example. Okay, and example of Apples. Okay, they are introducing their new products every year. Okay, and the product life cycle is short. Okay, by that. Okay, so product life cycle means that it's not only the products, from the raw materials and up to the products cannot go for a service anymore. Okay, but then when you introduce a new products, okay, so you are shortening the products that you have currently exist in the market. Okay, and then increasingly demanding customers. Okay, we are quite complex, right? In demand something. Okay, so and then number 4, fragmentation of supply chain ownership. Okay, so we have a lot of supply chain company. Okay, and sometimes the owner is not what they mention on the business card, or the holders is somewhere else. Okay, someone else, right? So fragmentation of supply chain, there's a lot of small things, right? So you have a Shopee for a supply chain, okay, run by Shopee as well, but sometimes they sub the service to another services of supply chain. Okay, that's how they do a fragmentation on it. And then globalization, okay, the scenarios what you have now in the world, okay, the oil price, the what else, inflation, okay, the health issues, okay, food securities issues. So all name it, okay, in globalization is will affect the achieving strategy fit. And then difficulties executing new strategies, right? So years and years, it will take quite a lot of challenge, especially for the companies, okay, to achieve a strategic fit, all right? Okay, and then based on the logistical and cross functional drivers, list and explain how to measure the related metrics influence the supply chain performance. Okay, this is a discussion. To skip that. All right, so in terms of summary, so I expected that you know what are the major drivers of supply chain performance. Okay, maybe there is a question and have you explain, and maybe you have to come up with the example of it and explain it. Okay, and then what is the role of each of the drivers? Okay, what are the major obstacles? And also in the reminder of the course, we will learn how to make a decision with respect to these drivers. Okay, so Chapter 1, Chapter 2, and Chapter 3 is the fundamental. Okay, the next chapter is the sourcing decision in supply chain. This is more a calculation. Okay, in doing this, okay, at the end of the topics after this is more to giving a decision. So how you want to give a decision, you have to make sure that you have to balance between the responsiveness and also your efficiency. Okay, so from the calculation later, right? I think maybe next week. Okay, you have to make your judgment. Okay, based on the knowledge that you have in topic 1, chapter 1, 2, and 3. That's why chapter 1, 2, 3, you are going to have this in your test 1 as a fundamentals. Okay, so this will be go for chapter 4. Okay, all right then. So I think I'm going to stop here. Okay. Thank you very much, guys, for attending the class. I'm not sure next week kita kena online tak sure lah. Ke jadi ke yang 13 tu? I don't know. So I'm going to check the circulate email. All right, so any question, guys, before we end? Stop sharing. No. I'm not fixing the date yet. Okay, because I just received a date for the core subject of this semester. So from that later, I'm going to discuss with Mr. Razlan on fixing the date So my target is a week before our semester break, mid-sem break. So that's my target. Oh, Raimi, attendance. Okay, attendance attendance. All right, those who are finished with attendance, you can dismiss the class. Yeah. Thank you very much. See you next week, inshallah. Assalamualaikum. Yes, chapter 1 to 3. Okay, I'm going to share the attendance. This is for section 7. Section 1, beritahu if someone who from section 1 want to scan, then just let me know. Okay, section 1. Okay, done. All right, guys. Thank you very much. All right, thank you. Thank you, Khalid.